Okay, I have a question for you. Have you ever been so excited about something you could barely contain yourself, but then the thing you're excited for ends up being a total disaster? Well, today I'm going to be talking about one of those instances in which that happened to me. So, when I was 11 years old, about 6 years ago at the time I'm recording this, I went to a camp at the Museum of Science and Industry, or the MOSSE. Now, if I remember correctly, the camp lasted about 6 hours, and what I thought it was going to be before we got there was a tour through the museum, games, and lots of other fun things. But little did I know, I was in for one of the worst nightmares of my entire life. I had been to the MOSSE itself many times before, and had an absolute blast every time. But I had never been to one of their camps before, so I was really looking forward to it. After my parents and my brother dropped me off at the place, the first people I was confronted with were a lot of really loud kids and a very cranky-looking teacher. Though, considering the way the children were behaving, I couldn't really blame her. So yeah, right off the bat, I was extremely uncomfortable. So I simply went off to a corner and sat all by myself as the rest of the children kept on running around me and screaming as the teacher looked on disapprovingly. Meanwhile, I was feeling ashamed of myself just for being the same age as the rest of the kids there. The next thing I knew, I and the rest of the children were being ushered into a small room where we ate our pizza and had some soda. This would have been a fun experience if only the other kids there hadn't been burping in each other's faces and making terrible jokes that made me lose my appetite. But anyways, after we'd all finished eating, I and the rest of the students were led into a tiny, stuffy, dusty room, and there we cooked a number of different foods assigned to us by the teacher. Most of the foods I ended up not liking very much, and it got boring pretty quickly, to be honest. After about an hour or so, I'd grown very tired from being cramped up in that room for so long, and was desperately wondering when we'd get to leave and explore the rest of the museum. But before I could ask the teacher, another kid, a boy, also the most demonic out of all the kids, asked first. The teacher then replied in a dismissive tone, something along the lines of, "Oh, we're not going anywhere. This is a cooking chemistry camp. That's what your parents signed you up for, dummy." The moment I heard that, I just felt numb with shock. I could just not believe that I would be trapped for another 5 hours in that room, like a mouse trapped in the deadly claws of a cat. And from that moment forward, every second I spent at the camp felt like pure misery, to be honest. Literally every 2 minutes, I kept on glancing at the clock that hung in the room over and over again. Every second felt like hours. However, I did try to endure the psychological pain as best as I could. But then, just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, a mouse leaped out from behind a shelf and ran across the floor. However, despite this, I was the only person who even noticed the mouse. But since I love rodents so much, I decided not to say anything about the mouse to the teacher or any of my classmates there. And before I knew it, the mouse disappeared behind another shelf. Then finally, several hours later, my time at the camp was over. My dad came and picked me up, and as we were walking over to the car, I told him everything that had happened and how bored I was the entire time, basically. Also, I can't even begin to express the amount of relief I felt at having fresh air in my lungs after being cramped up in the stuffy room all day. And once my dad and I got to the car, I told my mom and my brother about the rough time I'd had there as well. Needless to say, I never went to one of the camps at the MOSSE ever again. So I guess the moral of the story is, don't ever be too excited about things. Because if whatever you're greatly anticipating doesn't turn out well, as would happen in this particular case, it can definitely lead to a lot of dreadful disappointment. Hi everyone, it's Liz here. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my first animated true story ever. As you can probably tell, I put quite a lot of work into it, but at the same time, it was just so much fun to make. Creating this animation was an epic journey in itself, I must say. If you did enjoy it, please leave a comment down below. I love reading comments from you guys. And make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't. Also, if we can get this video to 10 likes, I will animate another crazy true story that happened to me in real life. In the meantime, I have a lot of fictional animated stories in the works as well. By the way, to those of you who don't know, I do have a second channel now called Liz Pets, where I basically just record cute, adorable, fun videos of all my animals. I just have so much fun doing it, so if you all could just head over there and subscribe to my second channel real quick, it would really mean a lot to me. I have the link in the description of this video. I would also like to give a huge shout out to the animation channel Ziggidy Zam, the main channel that inspired me to animate a real life story that happened to me. So if y'all could go over to his channel and subscribe, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much. Well, that's all for today. See you all in the next video. Bye!